most of the work that I have here given to you for the Irani weddings is because of these people's help. Then I was just Googling, as my friend Nancy Daruwala always does. And Nancy, every time you ask her a question, she goes into the Google and have the answer. So I did the same thing, and lo and behold, there were a number of references of the Persian wedding. But most of them, I was kind of worried that they were mostly Islamic background. But then my eyes caught this one particularly, and this one is written by one called Bijan Moridani. And this one, I thought initially it would be also Islamic, but in a Google ebook, they gave a synopsis of what was in this book. I read that and I found out not only he is going to discuss Zoroastrian wedding ceremonies in Iran, but also ancient Zoroastrian ceremonies of wedding. So I ordered the book from Amazon. You can see that ebook that I'm talking about and get some information from Amazon in the upper right-hand corner. It's a very interesting book. And let me just give you a little background. He wanted to include Zoroastrian wedding ceremonies also in the book together with Islamic. So he asked, by the way, he was born and raised in Iran but came over in '78 to California. He's a doctor. He asked his doctor friend Farzad Namdaran to help him, and he referred to his mother, Mrs. Gowhar Namdaran. And as you can see, she wrote all these things in Persian, and then he translated, and it's a wonderful account of what goes on. She also says this was all from the memory, so maybe recently they don't follow some of the things, but it is a wonderful account of what she remembered as a little child growing up in Iran about the wedding ceremony in Iran. Let's talk about oldest reference of Zoroastrian wedding. How far we can go to find that? Just imagine yourself to be present around 3,500 plus years ago in Iran, witnessing Zarathustra, our own Ashok Prophet Zarathustra, showering blessings and giving advice at the occasion of his youngest daughter, Pauruchisti's wedding to Jamaspa Havogwa. Can you believe that? And it is written not only by anyone, it is written by himself in his last Gatha Vahishtoishti. And it is the last Gatha describes the wedding and also describes some of the advices and admonitions Zarathustra himself gives to his daughter and her bridegroom, as well as to all the brides and bridegrooms of the world. So the first paragraph that we are going to read, it says, O you Pauruchisti of the Hajat Aspa family, O the youngest daughter of Zarathustra of Spitaman clan, Hormuz has designated that man who is dedicated to good mind and righteousness as your husband. So from now on, consult him, and through completely good and holy mind, perform deeds of good wisdom in our own Ashok Zarathustra's words. So the second paragraph after that, Pauruchisti answers, truly will I love him and shall compete more for displaying my love for him. And then Pauruchisti advises her friends, that girl who by being pure remains faithful to her father, husband, man associates, relations, as well as righteous persons, then her pure intentions will be fulfilled completely, and Hormuz will grant her eternal place in the Garotman because of her good intentions. Yasna 53.4, I am on slide number 24, going to 25. And so now the most famous words of Zarathustra. I use these words when I'm performing a wedding. I would request the father of the bride to say these words just like Zarathustra said it to her daughter, his daughter. And the words are, I say these words to you marrying brides and bridegrooms. Impress then upon your mind. May you too enjoy the life of good mind by following the laws of religion. Let each one of you outdo the other with righteousness. Then assuredly there will be a happy life for you. What a wonderful words said about 3,500 plus years ago. Then we are continuing on. Now this was the blessing. Now comes the admonitions and do's and don'ts. But O men and women, arrest the path of Druj, the bad, evil person, openly. Separate the attachment of Druj from your bodies. Happiness arising from the evil aura is destructive to mankind. You harm your spiritual life by the influence of the evil person who harms righteousness. And on slide 27, when your hidden passions, which are struck in the bottom of your heart, is totally removed, and when your evil thoughts are totally eliminated, then you would receive the reward for the great acts. Resolve to perform these courageous acts, otherwise your final words will be woe. So these are really the advice and admonitions given by Zarathustra himself 3,500 plus years ago. And you know that our Ashirvad ceremony in Parsi Ashirvad, similar blessings and admonitions and advices are given in our present day as if it is transliterated from Zarathustra himself. And what a glorious way of following our Zarathustra's advice 3,500 plus years later. So we have come to this. Now let's go to the Parsi wedding ceremonies. Now in that respect, there are three kinds of ceremonies, weddings that I have witnessed. The first one is in the small villages and towns of India, Gujarat mainly, outside Bombay. I grew up in Tarapur and I have witnessed three of them. All of them are my brother's weddings. And then one was in Tarapur going to Bombay for the wedding. Then in Tarapur going to Udwara for the wedding. And then finally Tarapur and Tarapur wedding. And guess what? One of our members, and she's present right here, Nelly Udwala, actually came to witness the wedding of my brother Palanji in Tarapur, and that was the first time I saw Nelly. Now these age-old customs had more than 4 days, but basically there were 4 days up there where the people were, everything was done outside the home under a tent, tambu as we call it, or mandap. And these age-old customs went on for 4 days. Barucha and Ormuzji books describe them in details, but you know, this has gone by the wayside, many of them, as we are getting more and more modernized, I guess, and we have forgotten even some of them. The second part of the weddings are in Bombay. Now here it is a toned down version of 4 days of celebration. Not all ceremonies of old customs are performed. And I have to say this, that I have been to almost 20 plus 30 weddings in Bombay. And do you know, it is a shame, it is a crying shame that 99% of the people, so-called Parsis, only come to give a pariko and then eat and leave. Nobody even comes and witness the Ashirvad ceremony. Well, then comes the Parsi weddings in North America. I have to say that they do a much better job. It is a mixture of 1 and 2 above, and sometimes they even do it more than Mumbai. And I witnessed and actually performed the wedding of the Mobit family, and they had all kinds of some of the old customs